Breaking news, as it appears that the European Union has reintroduced wording into a key bill that could see effectively Bitcoin being banned in the EU. Yikes! Also some big news out of the UK with a ban happening over there, as well as some other interesting stories about whale accumulation and much, much more. So make sure to watch until the end of the video to get all of the goods. My name's Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing. If you do like that topic, you like staying up to date with what is happening in this crazy market, make sure to tap on that thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm. By the way, every single week my team and I produce Wealth Mastery's Cryptocurrency Investor Report, DeFi tutorials, altcoin reports, NFT updates, token sales, airdrops, how to make money in spite of the crazy market conditions. You can sign for free using the link down below in the description. Now, let's talk about the price of Bitcoin. Or not. Or not. What is going on here? Absolutely nothing is going on here. Bitcoin's just been range bound for a very long time. There's the resistance we need to get over. 200-day moving average as well. Until then, man, nothing really exciting happening here. Curious to see, of course, what happens if we do get to this crypto ban coming through the EU tomorrow. Probably nothing good price-wise, but anyway, been pretty boring for the past few months at this point, price action-wise for Bitcoin. It's also quite funny, the whole mentality of people buying Bitcoin, or just crypto in general. And I think this meme totally sums it up. At $68,000, everybody's, oh, I want to buy Bitcoin. Give me all the Bitcoin I can possibly buy. $38,000, I don't want to buy Bitcoin. It's going to go to zero, or I'm going to wait until it goes down to $3,000 again. Then I'll go all in. Okay. Just dollar cost average, man. That's what I've been doing. As you know, I talk about a lot here on the channel, just to keep on stacking those sats. And interestingly, while I'm stacking sats, whales are over here stacking literally tens of thousands of Bitcoin. So late last week, 3 transactions, just like the one you see here on the screen, happened on Coinbase. So in the space of a few hours, around $1.2 billion worth of Bitcoin was moved off of exchanges. Now, a few days later, it does not appear that this was some kind of internal transfer within Coinbase. This was a mega whale buying a truck ton of Bitcoin. I mean, $1.2 billion, man, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Is this a new mega whale entrant to the markets? Is this a new corporation? Did Facebook buy Bitcoin? Did Apple buy Bitcoin? MicroStrategy? Did Michael Saylor sell all the office furniture and all the stationery and all the rest of the stuff to buy some more Bitcoin? Who knows? But it shows that big money remains very interested in Bitcoin. That's a lot of Bitcoin, man. I'm over here stacking sats. These guys over here just stacking truckloads. Also, over in the UK, more bad news. The UK's financial regulators have said that crypto ATMs are now illegal and must be shut down. Now, look, the UK was never the biggest adopter of crypto ATMs. There was, less than 100, I think, in the country. So not the end of the world, but just another way where people are being restricted from how they can buy Bitcoin, making it harder for people to access Bitcoin, especially the underbanked, who for those people, cryptocurrency ATMs was a potential lifeline. Obviously, we've seen crypto ATMs being used for a lot of illicit purposes too. Don't want to downplay that, but it remains a niche use case where we actually see basically a lot of regular people looking to use these kind of facilities in order to facilitate crypto transactions. But no more in the UK. They've said no thank you to that. Now let's get on to the big story. Why you came and clicked on this video. We got to talk about the Bitcoin ban, so to speak, coming up in an EU Parliament vote. Now, from the time of recording this video, it was about 9 or 10 hours away approximately. Depending on when you watch this video, it may have already happened. Of course, I'll update you in tomorrow's video about what actually happened with this and what it means. But something called MiCA is basically bringing in provisions that will put a very hard time on Bitcoin in particular. Really important to note here that proof of stake assets are not under the radar here. So as it says, crypto asset service providers shall not provide services related in any way, shape, or form to crypto assets that do not meet the environmental sustainability criteria in accordance to Article 3A. In particular, they shall not facilitate the purchase or trading of such crypto assets and shall not offer custody services for such crypto assets. There's really only one cryptocurrency that has environmental sustainability questions around it, and that is Bitcoin. Now you might say, well, what about Ethereum? Yeah, Ethereum is using the energy equivalent of a small country right now. That is true. However, Ethereum has a plan to move to proof of stake, and it's going to happen mid-year. June, fingers crossed, maybe a bit later, but it's definitely coming for Ethereum. All the other big blockchains, Cardano and Polkadot and Phantom and all the other ones, Cosmos and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Proof of stake. Proof of stake. Now we still do have a few other big proof of work mining coins, Zcash, Litecoin, for example, but their energy consumption is dramatically lower than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the king daddy of energy consumption. So they're talking about Bitcoin here, just to make that very, very clear. They're talking about Bitcoin. Now, what's interesting, of course, is what are, to what level will we see, environmental sustainability criteria, being enforced, right? How sustainable do we really need to see Bitcoin being? Because guess what? Bitcoin's pretty sustainable right now. So with that in mind, who are they even targeting? Well, they're targeting Bitcoin, obviously. But we're going to get into Bitcoin's sustainability here momentarily because it makes you realize this is really just an attack on Bitcoin. And it's unfortunate because this particular wording in the MICA was taken out. So I never even mentioned it. I remember I heard about it a few weeks ago, and then I looked into it after the weekend, and they'd already taken it out. I was like, okay, well, that crisis has been averted. Cool. Let's move on with ourselves. Now, here we go. The day before the vote is due on this, it's magically reappeared into the report. So now one important thing to note here is that according to how it looks for the vote, this is going to be super, super close whether or not it even passes. So it may not pass. And just to be clear, if what passes today or doesn't pass today is actually only voting on how the legislation is going to look, it's going to consist of, actually passing that into law or not, that is the next step. So this is like step one, approving the bill to be voted on, essentially. So we'll see, of course, if it even passes this step, let alone, of course, to the second step. I think if we do see it pass this step and get towards the second step, you'll see a lot of lobbying coming in with industry people pushing to say, hey, look, we got to chill out on that. But, obviously a lot is at stake here because Bitcoin is the biggest cryptocurrency. Now, where does the EU stand in terms of its environmental sustainability? Right? We have a war going on right now, which has massive impacts on the European Union because of their reliance on Russian oil and gas. Well, the EU, renewable energy consumption, 22% in 2022. It'll be a little bit higher, of course, in 2021. The goal is to have that up to 32% by 2030. So, the EU's not doing too bad when it comes to renewable energy consumption. What about Bitcoin? Bitcoin must be much worse than that in order for them to be looking at, we're going to get rid of Bitcoin because it's unsustainable. Well, interestingly, according to the Bitcoin Mining Council, which is a collaborative of Western Bitcoin miners, between them, they're using 66.1 sustainable power. That's interesting. So that means that Bitcoin right now is 3 times more sustainable than the European Union. That's interesting. Now, if we look at a global mix, things have changed around a little bit with, a lot of miners moving to Kazakhstan, which is not very friendly in terms of the emissions and stuff like that because it is running a lot off of gas and oil, so you have to keep that in mind. But still, we're looking at 58.5% renewables globally, still almost 3 times what the EU is using as, big economic bloc there. So that's pretty interesting, don't you think? Now, depending on who you ask, we could actually see this number being as high as 76% of Bitcoin mining being done using renewable energy. So we see the numbers move back and bit of forth, but it's over 50% by best estimates. What's interesting too is, of course, comparing Bitcoin to other industries. So you can see Bitcoin way down here in terms of metric tons of CO2 produced. So this is your carbon emissions for Bitcoin. Now, I'll just get myself out of the way there real quick. We can see the real war should be on tumble dryers, not on Bitcoin, man. I mean, I do like having dry shirts. Obviously, tumble dryers are pretty cool, but so is Bitcoin. Can't we have both? You see, tumble dryers actually use significantly more energy than Bitcoin, about 25% more carbon emissions, than Bitcoin. Data centers, significantly more. Think about how much of that data center data is just storing like cookies and unread emails and likes on Facebook. Come on, you're telling me that is somehow more righteous than Bitcoin? Get out of here with that nonsense. The gold industry, 122 metric tons of CO2. Nobody even talks about the gold industry. It's just like, well, gets a pass. Rainforest destruction, basically all runs on diesel, giant holes in the earth, et cetera, et cetera. And look, I got some gold, right? I understand the environmental impact of it, but hey, if we're gonna target Bitcoin, why are we leaving out gold, man? Global banking system, the aviation industry, obviously lots of room for improvement there. And I'm not saying we should, stop traveling on planes or anything like that, but it seems a bit disingenuous to be singling out Bitcoin amongst all of this other stuff that could, hey, why don't we make the aviation industry like 1% more efficient? That would make room for Bitcoin, for example. Right? So you have to consider these things when we start talking about emissions for Bitcoin, because often Bitcoin is completely misrepresented when it comes to emissions, when it comes to energy use. Yes, it does make emissions. Yes, it uses a lot of energy. A lot of that is renewable energy. Still could be more efficient. Yes, there's e-waste and all that stuff, but Bitcoin is worth all of that cost, especially if we're all going to be using tumble dryers anyway. I mean, come on, man, dry shirt's cool. Anyway, just my 2 Satoshis. I'll be updating you on the situation tomorrow about how the vote went and what it could mean for the industry moving forward. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.